Hello friends, welcome to another video. As you can tell from the title, today we are going to be reviewing a really popular foundation which went viral several months ago. This is the True Skin Catrice Hydrating Foundation. I actually first heard about this foundation when Tati did a review on it a couple months back, and since then I feel like it's been sold out for quite a while. It was pretty hard to get your hands on it, so hats off to Tati for that. I was finally able to get my hands on it. I ordered mine off of the Catrice website. You can also pick up this foundation at Ulta, although Ulta does not have the full shade range. I think they only have 6 or 7 shades out of all of the ones that Catrice has. And I also, while I was on the Catrice website, figured it would be a great opportunity to pick up their concealers. These, I feel like they launched more recently. The foundation, it's my understanding, it's been out for a while, but the concealers are a more recent. And this is an 18-hour hydrating True Skin High Cover Concealer with hyaluronic acid and meant to be waterproof. So promising. The foundations go for about $12, which is a relatively good price. Drugstore pricing, a bit higher up on there for drugstore, but comparable to something like L'Oreal. The Infallible 24-hour Fresh Wear Foundation, which is my favorite drugstore foundation, is about $12 depending on where you pick it up. And the concealers, I believe, are around $7 or so. I'm going to put it right here on the screen somewhere to be exact, just to make sure, because I don't quite remember. As you can tell, I do have kind of my full face of makeup on. I am currently wearing the foundation and the concealer. And before we go even further into the video, how you think this looks on me just right now, before, continuing through the video and hearing my final thoughts, just let me know, what do you think? Do you see anything different compared to other foundations or other videos? Are you noticing anything good, bad, or nothing at all? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you guys are picking up on camera compared to what I'm seeing in my mirror here in person. So let's get right into the demo portion and the swatches, and then of course at the end we will come back and discuss my final thoughts. So let's get into this foundation, and it is meant to be a long wear foundation. I got mine in 2 different shades just because I wasn't sure on the website for me to decide and to pick the shades. I feel like all the shades looked really light on the model, so it made it hard for me to pick. I also picked up the matching concealer as well, and I got 2 shades as well. So full disclosure, this is not the first time I've used this foundation. I've used it twice before. However, both of those times I didn't use it on its own. I mixed it with another one of my foundations, my LC Cosmetics foundation, which is actually my favorite, both those times that I tried it out. So today we're going to be trying out just the Catrice foundation on its own. The 2 shades that I got is 20 Warm Beige, so that's the shade right here, which in the bottle looks like it's pretty good. And then the second shade that I got, just in case, I got 30 Neutral Sand, because sometimes the warm shades can lean a bit too yellow. So I figured if I got one with a bit more of a neutral undertone, I could help balance it out. This foundation comes with 30 milliliters or 1.01 fluid ounces, a glass bottle. I think the packaging on this is really nice, and it does feel like it has some weight to it, and it does come with a pump, so that is a definite plus. Obviously mine looks used because, like I said, I have used it twice before. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do kind of like a shade match swatch, so you guys can see the 2 different colors and hopefully, or the 2 different shades, and hopefully that'll help you if you're looking to purchase this foundation. And right now I don't have anything really on my face aside from my skincare, my serums and my moisturizers. I have no primer on. So we're gonna give it a good shake just in case. And from the videos that I've seen, this is more of a liquidy foundation. So we're gonna keep that in mind. We're gonna swatch first the Warm Beige. The pump has a pretty interesting shape. It has, this really nice placement for your finger there. So that's cool. Okay, I'm gonna do a pump there. So that is the shade on the back of my hand, and you can see it is liquidy, so it's running down my hand. So let's do a swatch. So that is Warm Beige. And we're gonna do a swatch from just whatever's on my hand right here on my face. And I'm kind of spreading it. Okay, so not a bad shade match. If you've watched some of my foundation reviews before, you'll know that I do like to go just a smidge deeper with foundations. That way I can wear it winter and summer and I don't have to switch back and forth between foundations. So while this one does seem like a pretty good shade match, I would have preferred it to be a bit deeper. Let me just wipe that off my finger here. We're gonna let it sit as well, so with the dry down, and obviously I didn't blend it out perfectly. Now we're gonna try neutral sand. So again, I'm gonna give it a good shake. Okay, we're gonna do about the same amount. Whoop, that kind of went all over the place. And so that is neutral sand. As you can see, it doesn't look a lot darker or deeper than the other shade, which surprised me the first time I swatched them. So that is neutral sand, which also looks kind of light. So let's go ahead and give this a swatch right here next to warm beige. Okay, so here we've got warm beige and neutral sand. They both are on the lighter side, to be honest. I think I would have rathered, actually I don't think, I know I would have rathered something a bit deeper, so maybe in the more medium range than light medium. I usually am a light medium and with warm undertones. Sometimes depending on the brand, if they lean too yellow in the warm, I go more neutral, but for the most part, I'm a light medium with warm undertones. So you can see as the warm beige is drying down, it's actually matching my skin tone pretty well, I think. But I feel like it's drying down a bit on the neutral side, to be honest. I don't see much of that warm undertone in it. And the neutral sand, we can definitely see the neutral undertone in that. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what shade is gonna be better. We might just mix the two. Either are a perfect match for what I'm looking for, but we're gonna give it a go anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe those off and then put some primer, and then we're gonna go through with the application. I thought it was supposed to be a matte foundation, but I'm just reading on here. It's a hydrating foundation with hyaluronic acid and watermelon seed oil, which leaves perfectly even skin tone and natural matte finish. Oh, there it is. Medium to high coverage with a comfortable skin feeling, dermatologically approved. Okay, well, there you go. So for primer, what I'm going to be using is the ones that I generally use. I'm going to be using my Urban Decay All Nighter Longwear Foundation Grip. I feel like this is a bit more of a hydrating primer, and I usually use that in my T-zone. And then for the rest, I'm going to use my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Again, these are primers that I 9 times out of 10 use with any of my other foundations. I feel like it would be a fair comparison when using the same combination with the Catrice foundation. Okay, so we're gonna give that a bit to set in. It is always a good idea, if you have time, let your primer sit about 30 seconds to a minute or two if you can, before you go in with your foundation. Today will be a good day to test out this foundation because my acne scars are really out here and showing today, so putting it to the test. In terms of which shade I'm going to use, I think I am actually going to mix the two shades and do a bit more of the warm beige than the neutral sand. I'm just going to put some of this on the back of my hand. I'm doing maybe half a pump of the warm beige and then half a pump of the neutral sand. So those are the two shades side by side. And we're just gonna mix them. I'm gonna go one side at a time. I just dot my foundation. I'm gonna go in with a brush. This is my It Cosmetics brushes for Ulta Love is the Foundation brush. And I'm just going to start pressing that in. And I went in with a light layer. You guys may have noticed I didn't go too heavy because this is a medium to full coverage. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit more. And yeah, the shade is definitely too light. I feel like it's giving me kind of like a grayish cast compared to this side. You guys let me know in the comments. What do you think? Okay, in terms of blend, I feel like it's blending well. I don't see it clinging to anything in particular. I wouldn't say it's blending in like skin. I can definitely see it like sitting on top of my skin, but I wonder if that's because the shade isn't right. So let's go in on the other side. I only did about a half a pump of each one, so 1 pump total. I tend to like a more medium coverage, medium to buildable coverage, so I'm not really going for like a complete mask, if that makes sense. I do want it to cover up my acne scars and my redness. Oh gosh, this shade. So that is the first layer on. Definitely not a great shade match. I'm really trying to look past the shade match. I feel like I look gray. I don't know how it's coming off on camera, but I definitely feel like I look gray. I would say if you're planning to pick up this foundation and you have the opportunity to get it in store and see the shade, I would definitely do that. You can find it at Ulta, although they don't have the complete shade range there. But yeah, this is, dang, I don't feel like I've ever been this off on a shade match before. And you can see my acne scars are still showing through. So let's go in with a little bit more. I'm gonna go into the warm beige. Hopefully that warm undertone can help balance out this gray cast. Guys, I actually have things to do today, so if this foundation doesn't work, I will definitely be wiping this off and starting my makeup again because I'm not leaving the house looking like a ghost. So I went in with just like maybe not even half a pump. I would say maybe 1/4 of a pump. So it did a lot better of covering up that redness, actually. I think it did a significantly better job. I clearly didn't use enough foundation on the first go. I wonder, I'm gonna go in with the sponge and just kind of pounce this over. And this is my LC Cosmetics Velvet Sponge. Kind of help it sink in. Just gonna take whatever is left on my hand just so it doesn't go to waste and pounce that in with the sponge. So that is the foundation. In my kind of makeup routine, the next thing I usually do after I apply my foundation is do my cream contour. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we will do concealer from this line so we can test that out together. I'll be right back. I did a little bit of cream contouring, cream bronzing, and I just used my e.l.f. Petty bronzer in the shade Honey Drip, and I feel like that did help not look as ghostly, Casper the Friendly Ghost, but still, I'm just still not liking it. I will say for a hydrating foundation, I feel like this is drying down pretty matte. I'm touching it here and nothing is really lifting on my finger. It seems to dry more matte versus hydrating for me, at least. If you have dry skin, I don't really know if this would work for you necessarily. Keep in mind, I did use a hydrating primer. The Urban Decay All Nighter primer is a gripping powder primer, but it is hydrating as well. And I feel like this does look, I mean, it looks the same in the center of my face versus the perimeters where we put the Hydro Grip, the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip primers. Let's dive into these concealers. I have the shade Warm Beige 20. Again, that's it right there. And the second shade that I got is Neutral Biscuit, and this is in number 32. I figured this one would have a little bit more of a peachy undertone, the Neutral Biscuit, to help cancel out my darkness under my eyes. Come in, actually. Do I look like a ghost? Does this color, no, this shade?
You look pretty.
Really? I feel like I look too white. It looks like I have a gray cast. No?
I don't think so. It looks nice to me.
Okay. I just asked my husband if he felt like this looked too light or if I looked like I had a cast, and he said he didn't really notice anything. But then again, like, look at this. Ooh. Okay, back to the concealer. So let's start off with Warm Beige, and this is their high cover concealer. It says comfortable high coverage concealer with moisturizing hydro boost complex. Won't settle into fine lines, fresh and even, soft matte finish, covers under eye circles, long lasting and waterproof. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up. And here is the applicator. We've got a decent size doe foot applicator. You can see it has quite a bit of product on it. The shade doesn't look very warm to me. I don't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch that. So that is the Warm Beige concealer. Let's go ahead and swatch the Neutral Biscuit alongside it. Here is Neutral Biscuit in the applicator, which is looking like it's gonna be a better match, honestly. Oh yeah. Okay, Neutral Biscuit right there. Tell me if you guys are seeing this. Doesn't the Warm Beige look like a more neutral, cool tone versus the Neutral Biscuit? I feel like this one is giving me a bit more warmth and this one's giving me way more peach tones. I don't know. So what I'm gonna do actually is I think I'm gonna use Warm Beige more of as like a corrector. And I'm just gonna do a little bit right here. And then I'm gonna use the Neutral Biscuit more as like an actual concealer. That as a corrector, I mean, that definitely looks a little brighter. I'm just gonna dip into whatever I have on my swatch and just do a little bit more right here. It's blending into the foundation just fine. As a corrector, brightening up, I think that did an okay job. It is a matte finish, so if you have drier under eyes, I would say keep that in mind. Now we're gonna go in with the Neutral Biscuit. Here. Oh my gosh, this is a darker color than the foundation. I'm gonna look crazy. I feel like Neutral Biscuit should have been the shade of foundation that I got, to be honest, after seeing the concealer. And we're gonna just blend that in with this brush. I got a shade that would be closer to my skin tone just because lately that's what I've been enjoying in my makeup application. I don't want a super bright under eye, and I feel like when I put my setting powder over it, that in and of itself helps brighten up the concealer. So this concealer shade is definitely more of what I would have considered a foundation shade for me. That is the concealer. Not to sound like a broken record, but I am the type of person that does not like super high coverage. I go for a more medium coverage. Yes, I do like my dark circles to be concealed, but I also don't want the concealer to be so heavy for me to feel like there's, you know, just this thick layer under my eyes. I also have some natural creasing, wrinkles, whatever you want to call them. So it's relatively impossible for a concealer to not crease on me. So the creaseless claim, I kind of just glaze over. That's not really a factor for me when I'm buying a concealer. Obviously, if it creases less, that's better. But in general, everything is going to crease on me. With that, taking a look at this concealer up close, I do notice it's not settling in my lines as quickly as some of the other concealers that I use. So that is a definite plus. I would say it is a matte finish, and possibly if you're not oily, if you're more of a normal to maybe leaning dry skin type, you might get away without even setting this. I am going to use a little bit of translucent powder to set that. Maybe it'll help, hoping it'll brighten this up a little bit. I'm just going to use my Laura Mercier powder. Just take a little bit on the sponge. Oh crap, I did not just do that. I literally just dunked my sponge into the swatches. Great. Okay, we're gonna turn it on the other side. And I'm kind of working that into the back of my hand and make sure my creases haven't set. And here we go, powder, no powder. Okay, so I will say I needed a lot less setting powder under my eyes compared to some of my other concealers. So far, I'm gonna say I think I'm liking the concealers more than the foundation. A big part of that is probably because I just don't have the right shade, and this cast that I have is throwing me off. Let me go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup, and then we will come back and see how this all came together and what my thoughts are. And we're back. So I just finished my makeup. I didn't do anything too crazy. As you can tell, I didn't even do eyeshadow. And I did more of this like pinky mauve lip to give some color to my face. So, Catrice True Skin Foundation. Okay, so let's start off with the things that I do like about this. First off, the price for a drugstore foundation, $12, not bad. It is kind of higher up on the drugstore pricing. The L'Oreal 24-hour Fresh Wear foundation, the infallible one, that one's also right about the same price, and that is my absolute favorite drugstore foundation. Number 2, the shade range on this is pretty decent. I'll put a picture somewhere here so you guys can see. And number 3, I think for the most part, it is pretty true to their claim. So it does say here that it's a natural matte finish, and I would have to agree with that. It's definitely more on the matte side. I feel like as it sat on my skin longer, it's kind of blended in, and it's not it's not looking like it's just laying over my skin. Like I mentioned earlier during the application process, it definitely looks like it's melted in now that I've had it on for maybe about half an hour or so. Everything that I applied on top of it blended perfectly. I didn't notice any of my products getting patchy or not blending correctly or picking up the foundation. When I went in with the sponge as well, I didn't feel like it was picking up any additional product either, so that's a major plus. So if you're into a more matte foundation, I think you would enjoy this. For me, I like it to be a bit more of a natural skin-like finish, not dewy, but also not matte, so kind of that happy medium. The biggest thing that's throwing me off with this foundation is the shade. The shade is totally not my shade. I even went outside and looked at it in natural lighting, and it kind of looks worse than what I'm looking at right now. I don't know if you guys can tell between like this area of my face and my neck, that is quite a bit of a difference. I, again, have more warm yellow undertones, which sometimes can lean green. So overall, it is a bit harder for me to shade match, especially online. But in terms of wearability, I'm not going to be doing a wear test today with this foundation. As I mentioned earlier, I do have plans. We have family dinner later tonight, and I definitely can't go with my face not matching my neck, so I will be redoing my makeup. But I have used this foundation twice before, as I mentioned. Both those times I did mix it with the Elsie foundation just to get a better shade match. And I will say I did find my foundation lasted a lot longer on those days and looked a lot fresher as the hours went on compared to some of the other foundations that I've used. I used this on Monday, and I had it on for about 5 or 6 hours. I went out to dinner, ate, hung out with friends. I had a mask on. We were taking it on and off, and it didn't budge. It didn't move. I didn't find that the mask kind of lines picked up anything here. So that's a major plus, and that's something that I did really enjoy about it and was excited about it. I'll insert a clip. I actually took a kind of check-in video that day right before I was gonna take my makeup off, so I'll insert it here. Okay, let's hope lighting is in my favor. It's about 10 p.m. right now, and I've been wearing the foundation for a little over 5 hours, and this is what it's looking like. Still pretty matte. I mean, usually I wear a foundation for about 8 hours plus, but overall it stayed pretty matte. And with the mask that I was wearing in dinner, it didn't like fade or come off like some of my other foundations do. So so far so good. As you can see, the wearability in that time frame, that like 5 to 6 hours, it still looked great. I'm not knocking this foundation as of now. I just really need to try one that's actually my shade or my correct shade. Let's talk about the concealer. So the concealers, today is my first time trying it out, so this is more of a first impressions. Price point I think is great, $7 or right around there if I'm not mistaken. Looking here at my under eyes, I am noticing some creasing, more so on this eye than this eye, which, like I mentioned before, every and any concealer creases on me, so that's not something that I was expecting it to do. not crease. I do notice the creasing is less, or I don't have as much product built up in those creases. It has a nice matte finish, but not overly, so I don't feel like it's too drying. If you have dry skin though, maybe this may not be the right one for you. I feel like the formula was pretty lightweight, had a good amount of coverage. And again, as it's been sitting on my skin a bit longer, I feel like it does mesh into your skin the longer you have it on. So while when I first applied it, it did kind of look like it was just laying on top of my skin, as of now, it seems like it's melting in, which is a major plus. In terms of a rating, I think I'm gonna have to give the foundation maybe a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for right now, mainly because the finish is just not what I usually go for. And number 2, the shade, but the shade was my fault. I picked the wrong shade. And then for the concealers, I feel like I have to try these out a couple more times before I can give you guys an overall rating. As of right now, I'm gonna say maybe about an 8 out of 10. I do need to play with these a bit more before I can give you guys a full rating. Let me know in the comments below if you guys would be interested in a follow-up video on this, and I'd be more than happy to film that for you guys. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. If you're new here, hi, my name is Layla. Welcome to my channel. I hope you will stick around. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell to get notified every time I upload. I usually upload once a week on Tuesdays, and sometimes we get a bonus video during the week, so even more reason to ring that bell. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like this video if you'd like to see more videos like this, testing out new foundations and or concealers. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of this foundation, if you've used it. Did you like it? Did you find it easy to find your shade? And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.